you were also a part of this beacon journey from the very beginning. You were in Mumbai there. I remember an instance. Do you remember the instance that I'm talking about? So hi, finally we are out here today because we want to talk about the recovery journey of the Beacon Kolkata website. I have Ayaz here with me.
Hi.
And the Beacon Kolkata recovery journey has been quite a ride, and we thought we would document it and make you guys a part of it. So what are we talking about as far as the recovery journey is concerned? Well, the Beacon Kolkata website was created in say around late 2014-15, and the website was very active for around 3 or 4 odd years. And in those years, we accumulated around 1100 odd blog posts on Kolkata. Each of these posts used to feature interesting places, people and culture around the city. And we had a variety of writers who would go out there, find the stories, uncover Kolkata's mysteries and present to you on the website. However, a big reason why the website stopped and we stopped creating content was because of a domain shift back in 2018-19. Because of a domain shift in the website, we lost the photos of around 900 to 1000 odd stories. Basically, almost 90% of the blog posts which were there on the website suddenly overnight did not have pictures in them anymore. They were just text, and there was a problem with the formatting as well. So this came as a very major heartbreak to us, at least especially to me, because Beacon Kolkata website was something which I had built from scratch, and it began as a college project, and it evolved into something so much more. And I created the website pretty much with the help of Devdotto. Devdotto created the website definitely, and Devdotto and I worked together for many years to create the Beacon Kolkata online magazine, which we proudly even today say Kolkata's first online magazine by the youth of the city, for the youth of the city. So coming to the recovery process, I would like to know from you, what was your first reaction when I said that, the mess that the Beacon Kolkata website was, and let's try and recover it. What was your first reaction when you got to know this from me?
So my first reaction, I was excited.
Okay.
To revive.
Understandably so. You were a part of it from way before.
Yes, I was a part of it officially, unofficially from a very long time.
Yes.
So at first I was very excited, like, come on man, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's just revive this whole thing.
Yeah.
But deep down, I'm a hardcore operations guy.
Right.
So my emotions are always followed by execution.
Right.
So the first thing I thought was, how do we go about, reviving the stories involved getting all the photographs.
Right.
Back then there were not so many YouTubers and bloggers out there. So
it's very interesting point.
So when one would go out to cover a story or just photo document something, people were generally warm. They were a bit more welcoming.
The concept was new back then.
Yes, it was something
people
new.
Would take interest.
So they were excited that they would get featured somewhere.
Right.
But today the scenario has completely changed.
Right.
Now, now when you would even visit a mall and even if you're trying something on yourself and you take a picture, somebody or the other will come and stop you.
Right.
Or survive.
The plethora of YouTubers like this way. And yes, and now the thing is, a very interesting thing, especially of late, the cases which have happened with Baba Ka Dhaba and this and that, people think that, content creators make a fortune by showing their content with Kacha Badam and with all those things happening. People think that,
used.
They think that they are being used and especially misused.
Right?
They are more afraid of how they are going to be projected. So how did this affect the entire process?
So
because actually I didn't really head out to click any more pictures. You were taking care of it, so you will be able to.
like one of instances, like when we headed out to Bentic Street,
Right.
that was one story where we didn't land up clicking much pictures,
Right.
because not one shop owner or the shop managers were
Right.
at all cooperating. They
Right.
just
Right.
it was just an upfront no from them, like
Right.
no, we won't let you take pictures, or
Right.
they weren't even willing to talk. So that was a big challenge, because usually whenever we headed out, we did try some way or the other to get some pictures, but this one particular, the whole of Bentic Street,
Right.
that was a bit disappointing, because
I'll tell you the interesting thing about this aspect. So when I was in Kolkata always, that's where I began my editorial journey from, in an upbeat manner. Suruchi Di, she's very senior to me. Suruchi Di, if you're watching this, hello. Suruchi Di headed out to do the story for Bentic Street. And I remember her entire experience. I myself was very skeptical about market-oriented stories because it's not easy. It's very difficult. You have to formulate the plan before of how you want to. You have to have an in-depth understanding of the market from before. And the other aspect is again going, convincing people to talk to you, getting insider information, presenting information which is right. Because a market which is there, when you present a market, a percentage of for a percentage the market is new. But for a large percentage, the market is their bread and butter and they know everything about it. So you need to be correct with every info that you put out there. You can't just talk to one or two people and draw an inference. You have to talk to a lot of people, get an understanding, use your years of journalistic ability and print out the story. That is where Suruchi's years of experience came into place. And when she had gone for the story, I remember her telling me how good her experience was, how cooperative people were, and how much they liked being a part of it and how much they opened up to. So nonetheless, we're going off track. So as if you have to say one particular good experience that you had, you told me about the negative aspect of it, but any good experience that you had maybe when you headed out to
So when we were browsing through all the stories,
right.
One story caught my eye was the story on Chandni Market.
Of course, you and Chandni Market go way back.
So,
yes.
Being a kid, or in my younger years,
Right.
I happen to be someone who has visited Chandni more often than an amusement park.
Especially given your father's
Yes.
and your entire family's knack for
tech, and
yes. For those who don't know, Ayaz's father is one of the more interesting people that I know. He's been. I think we should cover a separate video on Rumi Bhaiya some other day. Anyway, coming back to the topic.
Yeah, so my father, having a knack of fixing everything by himself,
Yes.
made me visit Chandni a lot in my younger years. So when I came across this story on Chandni, it was originally done by Ijaz, a very good friend.
Yes. Of course, Ijaz. I hope you will be watching. You better be watching this. Yes.
So that story caught my eye and it immediately grabbed my attention, and I wanted to, be completely involved in the revival part, because it was like I was completely aware of all the nooks and lanes of Chandni.
Right.
So-
I remember when you were giving the directions to Sunny and Rahul when they were heading out. Sunny and Rahul being our on-ground force, who actually head out, go the places in the
Right,
heat, in the
right,
rain.
right.
They actually go, and I really owe a lot to them. Anyway, I remember when you were giving the instructions to them, I remember you were so meticulous in providing each and every info that you explained, even the landmark in each lane that they would go to.
Right, like Google Map was a link for them. The map of Chandni was in my head. So I could tell them exactly
Yes.
where to go, which lane to enter,
Right.
which all, categories they could cover.
Yes.
So
Only goes to show actually how good a job Ijaz did earlier.
Exactly,
Him
the
not
way-
being a Chandni person that I know at all, and that means he actually did a very good
the
job.
way he has put out the whole
Yes,
journey, the
yes.
way he has encapsulated the whole thing.
Right. And since we're talking about that, I would request you guys. We have put up a video blog per se on Chandni
Yes,
Market
on
as
Chandni
well.
Market.
We are slightly trying to venture into video stories, and this is one of the newer ones. I would request everybody to check the link in the video in the description. Yes.
What about you, Sohail? Why don't
Yes.
you tell a story that a story which is very close to you?
to be true, the entire aspect, all the stories are very close to me because even though I had Santana, I had Ijaz, I had Guncha, I had Suruchidi, I had a lot of people, I had a team of very passionate content creators who were very good at their job. So essentially I was always at the back end, formulating which story to do, trying out a contact for them, that when they go there, it's not as difficult for them. Right. I personally have headed out for a few stories. For few would be wrong, for many stories, but very strangely, the stories that I'm most proud of are the ones which I haven't actually done. But nonetheless, a story which would always be close to my heart. There are many like that, but if I have to put a finger, because the first story that I revamped in this journey of revamping stories was that of Mr. Sir Uday Bhan Singh.
Oh,
ji.
Yes.
So he is a very interesting person. He is an educator by profession. He owns a school, but he also happens to be owning 80 odd jeeps.
Right,
you know about him.
Article,
He is called Jeep Guru. But Jeep Guru, maybe I was probably the first person to get a very in-depth interview of him, with all the pictures of his cars, showcasing everything, opening up to me. I can proudly say that even it's been so many years, but even today I can say confidently that he loves me as a son, because the connection that I found with him over the story. So this aspect is what I was talking about earlier, that the people that we have featured, the lives that we have featured, the stories that we have brought out, they have such deep connections. We have developed such deep connections with them, that is what is the takeaway essentially. More than how many people saw the story, was it a hit or a success, or was it maybe it didn't work. For example, I'll tell you, there are a lot of instances where I have featured certain people, okay, because I had a knack to understand that their story is worthy, content worthy, rich in content, which they themselves did not know. And often it has happened now that I was the first to feature them. They became moderately famous because of our feature. Either they understood their potential of content creation, or others understood, and they went on to become very famous. For example, I'll give you an example. Just two examples in one example. This is the example of Kolkata Cloud Chasers, KCC. Now, Kolkata Cloud Chasers, the lead was given to me by Dev Dotto, definitely. We used to sit every day together and work on things. So, this story will be special because back then they themselves did not know that essentially that they were feature worthy, and they were a gold mine of content, which any content person thinks of it that way. And I went and I took their interview. We featured their stories, their vehicles, everything. I will leave a link to the KCC article below. You should check it out if you don't know them already. But after we featured them, now today they are being featured. I see Devarshida's post that they are being featured on Outlook, they are being featured on national level magazines. But every time I see a new post by Devarshida, that today we are featured here, we are featured there, I get a trip down memory lane. I get rather a sense of pride that I understood that potential, and I was the first essentially to do a proper story on them.
True.
And about the other example, interestingly, I did not do this story. They did this story. He was the best photographer till date that I know, and interestingly, he is the author of that story. So it is a story that I am proud of, but then not done by me. So it is again Dev Dotto. And coming to Dev Dotto, the beauty of that guy, he had been pushing me for many years to revive the magazine. I was not finding the motivation. He left me such an emotional message when I told him that that we are coming back to the magazine, and we are doing the revival process. And the beauty of that guy, I'll tell you as. So how did Dev Dotto and I meet? I used to write. I needed pictures. I found that he clicks pictures. He also happens to be a web developer. Wow, win-win. So we collaborated. He made the Beacon Kolkata website from scratch. He took around 3 or 4 nights. So he was a teacher back then, in National High School, and he took the time. He made the website from scratch, from scratch. It's not a template. Today it may be a template, but back then it didn't begin as a template in no way whatsoever. So he made the website from scratch, encoding everything, the color code, the headline, the social media plugins, generating heat maps, whatnot. It was a playground for him, and I used to love the way how much he would enjoy making the website. Anyway, I'm going off topic. As far as his pictures are concerned, my God, that guy apart from the fact that he used to love photography, he still does love photography. He shifted to the mobile phone now. Devdutt, you better be watching this. But but the pictures that he used to take, every picture is so close to my heart. I was looking for certain pictures. Say, now there are certain stories that I can't just go and click pictures again. Like Chandni Market, I can send Sunny, you can go click pictures. But as far as Jeev Guru's story goes, I can't go and tell him, sir, I've lost your picture. He'll tell me to just get lost. So I had to find those pictures, and even till today, I remember each and every photograph that Devdutt has gone out. I have gone with him, clicked, and I knew deep down that these stories are special, and 101% I'm going to be able to find them, because the better stories that we had, I had to find those pictures, and it was such an experience, finding Devdutt's old mail. Back then, Woven in Light was his Facebook page. He had a website also as well. I think it's still around. Woman in Light was the page where he used to, click pictures, and I proudly used to call myself a photo fixer because I used to take him to interesting locations to click pictures. So it was such an experience, finding old mails from Devdutt, Woman in Light, and finding slowly discovering each and how individual pictures. Just Wazid's story. Wazid is one other example. Wazid is an MTV guy from Calcutta. You may not know about him, but so I was again one of the first people to feature him, to bring out his story that Calcutta has a MTV freestyle stunting guy. Back then, he himself wasn't that open in front of the camera, that confident. He was a young guy. He was a college guy, school guy, not even a college guy. Today, Wazid is known all across India. He is the MTV freestyle guy in India. He has a YouTube channel 100 times bigger than ours today. But then again, I take pride that when I featured him, he didn't know he would be coming this far, and I could see that potential in him. Yeah. Coming to the Devdutt's aspect, so again, I was so happy. He had come to our office, Wazid, with his friend, and they were doing stunts, and we had clicked his pictures at office. So it will be so special, finding Devdutt's pictures, putting them back in the stories.
True. Yeah.
But enough about me. You were also a part of this beacon journey from the very beginning. You were in Mumbai then. I remember an instance. Do you remember the instance that I'm talking about?
Yes, I think we're talking about the same one.
Tell me.
So, I was in Mumbai. I was doing my college, doing my masters actually. So I'd come down for a vacation. I just casually met Sohail, catching up.
I used to work in Kolkata on this magazine. Yes.
So at that point of time, so they had a story to cover. But that very day, Sohail had a very important meeting, and he couldn't be there for the story.
Yes.
So, and he knew that, okay, I have a bit of a knack for photography. I wouldn't call myself a photographer, but yes, I do like photography. And somehow he knew about it.
Yes.
So he's like, hey, yaar, aaj ek story hai. If you're free, why don't you drop by to the office and help us out? I was like, chalo, theek hai. I'll give it a shot. So this was Papi Green Taxi.
Yes, Papi Green Taxi. Another person whom I featured, that today he is nothing less than a celebrity. Yes. I take deep pride in that. Someone seeing the video may think that I'm being so proud of myself, but that is a very few aspect of my life where I do take pride, and otherwise I'm a very modest person. So yes, that is something.
That story was
definitely.
Something because that was out of the odd. I had just come down for a week's vacation.
And did you find the picture of Papi Green Taxi?
Yes, I did. I did find all the pictures. And also, I'll try to put that picture here as well. I have a picture. I took a selfie with him.
Oh, you did?
After the shoot, yes. And I think it's there on my Instagram. So I'll try to.
But how did you find these pictures? Because I couldn't find them in the mail.
So yes, we couldn't find the mail. So the only resort was Facebook. So
you found them from
I went to his Facebook page.
From the Beacon Kolkata Facebook page. Yes. I will leave a link to the Beacon Kolkata Facebook page as well.
Do check down there. Check all the pictures out there as well.
Yes.
So that was a very interesting story.
Another important person whom I shouldn't miss out on would of course be my cousin brother Ruman. We call him Adil. Ruman was such a big part of my journey. Because today today we are pretty much established business folks. We know how business works. We know we are providing a service. We have a setup. We have salaried employees who are there, who are passionate of course, but who are there, who are ultimately salaried employees.
Yeah.
But Ijaz, Devdutt, Ruman, no matter how much I talk about them, it will never be enough, because they were people who were part of the journey because they believed in me. They believed in my ability to create something magical. And Ruman is one such guy, is the special guy, the most special guy, because even before Devdotto, before Ijaz, Ruman was the younger brother of mine, who I could debut, chalo, he had a camera. I think he had a Canon.
He had a Canon.
Canon, na? He had a Canon, I'm sorry, I don't remember. 80D nahi tha, I think kuch to tha.
But yes.
So he had a Canon camera, and he would just follow me wherever I would ask him to go, for pictures. And he was the first person, who went out with me because he believed that, Sohail Bhaiya, yes, can create something, and he'll always be so special to me for that. A very special story that I would like to talk about now is, guys in a hurry. A story that I would like to talk about now was the story we had done on the flyovers of Kolkata. You may not know about this, but you weren't in Kolkata then. So a lot of flyovers that you see in Kolkata, say maybe the Parama flyover was made fast, but even the metro construction, the Ulta Danga flyover, a lot of flyovers took a lot of time to get created, And back then I had a knack to, we had to prove ourselves. We couldn't just go out there and do vanilla stories. We had to do hard-hitting stories as well. So I did a story. I had a theory that, since the flyovers are taking so much of time to get constructed, the rod, the material used to enforce the concrete, it's just lying there rusting. And it's going to ultimately become weak. The cement is going to become weak, the rods are going to become weak. So I did a story on this. I did an elaborate story. I met the engineer responsible. He laughed it off. He said, the theory isn't really correct. I explained to him, it spreads like rust, spreads like cancer. It is going inward. It's not visible. The rods are becoming weak. Of course, it was an anti-establishment story, and it wasn't the convenient one. But like I was saying, so I remember heading out maybe 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning to Behala with Ruman. I had a Duke 200 back then, and we used to ride everywhere. And picking him early in the morning from an anybody, taking him for the story, featuring those pictures. And I will leave a picture in this. I had clicked a picture of Adil. I think yes, I don't know whether Ruman Rashid, photojournalist in the making, and that photo is very special to me. It's not a very good picture. I was never very good at clicking pictures. My wife Afrin complains even now at how the terrible pictures that I click. But I always believe in curating that moment. Even though the quality is bad, but it represents an emotion.
There's another picture I remember. I believe it was somewhere in Princep or some other location.
Okay.
I remember he's standing on the roof of I-20.
I'll click that. Put that picture over here.
To get a good frame.
Yes, I'll tell you, it wasn't in Princep Ghat.
Better frame.
It was in Godrej Waterside. You see Godrej Waterside now, right? So back then it wasn't the way it is now. You could actually drive all the way inside. You could go towards the Bheri, and you could go in the mud path. And I wanted to showcase, this was a part, if I'm not wrong, it was a story which I was doing on hidden locations in Kolkata for the recluse in you. I'll leave a link in the description to the story. It was a story on hidden locations in Kolkata where you can go to just chill, because that story was again special because they were places which I'm pretty sure they're not there around anymore now, because the city has moved forward in around 7 or 8 odd years. One location was the mosque at Lake Gardens. Have you been there?
No.
I'll take you there. So you have to walk a footbridge and go to the mosque.
Okay.
That was one location. Another location was where I had taken you that Daniel Laskar monument. So that place isn't there anymore. We used to call it helipad. It was shown to me by a very dear friend, Sagar. And it's not there anymore, very sadly. But you can see that view from Doi Ghat. As far as Doi Ghat is concerned, we had shot the Beacon Kolkata
the comeback
video, yes, in Doi Ghat. I'll leave a link to that video as well. Anyway, enough of our conversation. Anything else that you want to, add quickly to this?
Well, this whole Beacon Kolkata thing, it makes you fall in love with the city.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Another thing, you guys headed out for a day-long train.
Okay, exactly.
Yes,
That
one
was-
fine day we were
yes,
free from work. Yeah.
so-
Why don't you tell about that? Yeah.
So it was just a very light day we had at work. So we just decided, why don't we just head out and try to cover as many.
And how many kilometers did you drive that day?
I think I must have driven like, on an average I drive like 50 kilometers. That is my everyday thing.
Yes.
But I think that day we had
just because you're shooting this video, I'm driving. Otherwise, I'm never driving. I'm just the one driving, especially on weekdays.
yeah. So that was like or 200 kilometers that day.
200?
Close to 200 kilometers that day.
Oh, inside Calcutta city.
Inside that.
That's
yes,
the thing to
that's
note.
the thing.
In traffic.
In traffic, 200 kilometers.
On a weekday, yes.
And if I'm not wrong, we had covered 26, 27 spots.
To name a few?
So we did the whole Kolkata and chai thing.
Yes, I remember that
That
story.
story.
I think
So-
Gunja had done that story. Chai in Kolkata.
And I am a chai person, so I was like, it's
Did you went to Gulab Chai, right?
Gulab chai, all possible chai from north to south, you name it. And I have been there like just 10 days back. So that was one interesting day. And it was not just chai, we covered the whole kachori thing. Maharaja, Maharani.
Right. Even that kachori story was by Gunja. I spoke to Gunja the other day. I'll send her a link to this video as well. Right. And you even covered the war memorials, if I'm
Yes,
not wrong.
yes.
How
About-
was your experience?
And
Because that is
was
something.
something.
Yes.
No, I'll be very honest. That was something I did not know that
We are close to the war memorial now. As we are
actually we're
driving.
heading in the direction. But yeah, I mean, I never knew there were like. Thanks to Beacon, thanks to Sohail, there were so many places I did not knew were in Kolkata, or I just heard of but never saw them.
Right.
So in this quest of reviving the whole thing, there are places where I've actually been there for the first time, being 30 years old.
You have grown up in Kolkata.
I've grown up, born and brought up and grown up in the city, but
Right,
there are places that I've just been there for the first time in the last month.
Right.
So that has been something very unusual but exciting.
Right, true. As far as my experience goes, I'll tell you, I didn't really head out to click any pictures, but my trip down memory lane, like I was telling, was in the email box. News Beacon 13, subreddit for Beacon. I think there was one more. Sohail for Beacon at gmail.com. So I really devoured all these email IDs,
I would get all the forwards.
Yes, you would get all the
forwards from different mails.
Yes. Another experience was, I'll tell you, back then I had a knack for designing always, but I wasn't really out there as a designer. But as time evolved, my designing skill has improved. Of course, with Canva and all the other technology that has come in. Excuse me. Technology that has come in, designing is fairly easier now. So another experience for me was making the thumbnail for around 60 or 70 odd stories. This was another experience that I will always cherish. There is an entire Canva thread for me where I have around 70 or 80 odd just thumbnails of stories. And this time we have made good thumbnails, which some are pictures and most are nicely made artworks. So that was another thing which I will take away. Apart from that, definitely we have revived the website, but social media posting is another thing that we have to start again.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's call it a wrap.
Yeah.
So if you watched this video till this far, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of our video. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Do like, share, subscribe if you like the content. We intend to make a comeback. We will take our time because we have also aged. And it will be a slow process, but this time it is going to, of course, come back with a bang.
To Beacon Media.
To Beacon Kolkata, Beacon Media. And also, I'm trying and putting out info content on Beacon Media related to branding, advertising. We recently put out a video on conscious consumerism.
Right.
I intend to put out more videos. We will leave a link to that channel as well.
Check it out.
Do check it out. Thank you. I hope it has been a good experience.
Stay tuned. We'll try to be a bit more regular with such informal content.
Yes,
having a
yes.
conversation.
If you
with
do
all of
like this type of content, then do hit us a like.
Yes.
It'll give us an indication that you want to see two 30-year-old guys driving around and talking about boring stuff. So yeah, that's that. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. I hope it was recording, man.